Ladies and gentlemen, women are emotionally wired to seek connection, not just communication. It's a distinction that many overlook, especially in relationships where surface-level exchanges are mistaken for intimacy. For women, words are not just words, they are bridges to emotional bonding. When a woman engages in conversation, she's not merely exchanging information. She's expressing her inner world, her feelings, her perceptions, and her values. She seeks to connect at a deeper emotional level, to feel seen, heard, and understood in ways that transcend simple replies. That's why a casual "I'm fine" or a distracted "huh" doesn't satisfy her. She's listening for energy, tone, presence, and the emotion behind the words. This need for connection is rooted in both biology and psychology. From an early age, women are often socialized to nurture, to empathize, to pay attention to emotional cues. Over time, this becomes an emotional blueprint, a preference for relationships that feel emotionally rich and safe. When a woman talks about her day, what happened at work, or something small that bothered her, she's not looking for a solution, she's looking for resonance. She wants someone to meet her where she emotionally stands, not to fix her but to feel with her. This is why connection holds so much power for women. It creates a sense of emotional closeness, of mutual understanding, of trust. In that space, she feels emotionally safe, and when she feels safe, she opens up more deeply. She becomes more affectionate, more loyal, more expressive, because the emotional need is being met. On the other hand, when this connection is missing or constantly interrupted, when she feels like she's talking to a wall or someone who is emotionally unavailable, it creates emotional distance. She may start pulling back, questioning the relationship, or feeling emotionally lonely even when she's physically not alone. Men often make the mistake of focusing too much on logical, practical communication, thinking that giving answers or fixing problems will satisfy a woman's emotional needs. But emotional satisfaction doesn't come from the solution. It comes from the journey of being emotionally understood. A woman wants to feel like her thoughts and feelings matter, like she's not alone in her emotional experience. That's the essence of connection. And when a man is fully present with her, when he listens with intention, mirrors her emotions, holds space for her vulnerabilities, she feels truly bonded to him. In romantic relationships, this emotional connection becomes even more critical. It's the reason why deep conversations, shared vulnerabilities, and emotional intimacy often mean more to a woman than grand gestures or material gifts. Emotional connection is the real currency of her affection. She wants to be able to cry, laugh, vent, dream, and reflect, all with the same person, and when that's available to her, she doesn't just feel loved, she feels seen, she feels chosen. This is also why superficial attention, texting all day without emotional depth, giving compliments without emotional presence, can fall flat. It may stimulate momentary attraction, but it doesn't build the emotional security women crave. Connection is about quality, not just quantity. A 10-minute conversation where she feels emotionally held is more impactful than hours of distracted backhand. Fourth, emotional attunement is the silent language women are always listening for. Understanding this doesn't mean changing who you are. It means deepening your awareness of what truly matters. When you approach a woman with presence instead of performance, with listening instead of lecturing, with empathy instead of ego, you're speaking the language of connection. You're creating the emotional experience that draws her in, keeps her interested, and makes her feel emotionally full. Because at the core, women aren't chasing constant communication, they're chasing emotional alignment. They want to feel that you get them, that your energy meets theirs, that your attention isn't scattered but sacred. Security, emotional, mental, and physical, is the foundation of female attachment. A woman may be drawn to charm, attracted by appearance, intrigued by confidence, but what makes her stay, what makes her trust, open up, and build with someone is the feeling of safety. When she feels secure, she begins to allow herself to soften, to invest emotionally, to be vulnerable in ways she would never dare if she sensed instability. Security is not just about protection from external threats. It's about protection from emotional harm, inconsistency, betrayal, and emotional neglect. It's about knowing that she can be herself without fear of judgment, criticism, or abandonment. Emotional security is the first and most vital layer. It's the sense that she can express herself honestly and be met with understanding, not invalidation. A woman who feels emotionally secure will speak her truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because she knows she won't be punished for her honesty. She will show her real self-flaws, fears, emotions, and all, because she knows she won't be shamed or belittled. That safety becomes the soil where trust grows. Emotional security means consistency in how you treat her, how you listen, how you react, and how you support her. It means knowing she can cry and not be dismissed, that her emotions are not too much, that her sensitivity is not a weakness but a language you respect and understand. Mental security is the next level. Women seek partners who bring clarity, not confusion. Mental security comes from consistency in words and actions, from clear intentions, from the ability to make decisions with integrity. A man who says one thing and does another creates anxiety, not attachment. A man who is clear about what he wants, who respects boundaries, and who communicates openly, provides mental stability. When a woman doesn't have to decode mixed signals or wonder about where she stands, she becomes mentally relaxed in the relationship. That mental peace is essential for long-term emotional investment. It's not just about being intelligent or articulate, it's about being honest, dependable, and grounded. Physical security, while often overlooked in modern emotional discussions, still plays a huge role. It's not about being the biggest or strongest, it's about creating an environment where a woman feels protected. That could mean standing up for her in difficult situations, making her feel safe walking beside you, or simply being someone who others respect when you walk into a room. It's also about how you handle physical intimacy with attentiveness, care, and consent. When a woman knows that her body is safe in your presence, that her boundaries will be honored, and that her comfort is your priority, she becomes far more open, far more trusting, far more emotionally available. That sense of physical safety creates the environment where emotional and mental bonds can flourish. Security in all its forms is not created through words alone, it's built through patterns. It's in the daily choices, the way you show up during conflict, the way you speak about your future, the way you follow through. When a woman sees consistency over time, her guard comes down. She no longer needs to protect herself emotionally because you're already doing it for her. That's when love becomes easy, flowing, and nourishing. She doesn't have to chase, prove, or question. She just knows. On the flip side, the absence of security breeds chaos. Insecurity, unpredictability, emotional neglect, or dishonesty creates emotional turbulence that no woman wants to live in for long. She may tolerate it for a while, but her spirit starts to retreat. Her laughter changes, her words become guarded, her affection becomes conditional. This is the defense mechanism of a woman who no longer feels safe, even if she's still physically there. She starts doing what she once never did, checking out, pulling away, silencing herself. That's why security isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the emotional architecture of her love. Mystery and anticipation stimulate attraction more than constant availability. For many women, what excites the heart and mind is not just what's obvious, but what's unfolding, what's slightly unknown, what feels like a discovery. When everything is predictable, when someone is always there, always responding instantly, always revealing every detail, it may feel convenient, but it doesn't feel thrilling. Women are emotional beings, but they're also imaginative. They connect to a sense of curiosity, a feeling of being drawn into something deeper, a narrative that builds slowly rather than being handed to them all at once. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being deceptive. It's about leaving space for wondering, for learning, for the slow unfolding of depth. It's about being intriguing without being confusing, being present without being overly accessible. When a woman feels like there's always something more to discover about you, another layer, another ambition, another truth she didn't know before, she becomes emotionally and mentally engaged. That engagement turns into fascination, and that fascination fuels emotional connection. It's the emotional version of a page-turner book. You don't stop reading when you know everything from page 1. You keep turning the pages because each one reveals just a little more. Anticipation plays a powerful role in deepening desire. The wait, the wondering, the build-up to a moment often becomes more emotionally powerful than the moment itself. When everything is instant, texts, calls, replies, attention, it can begin to feel routine, like clockwork. But when there's just enough space, when the timing feels intentional rather than reactive, it invites her to lean in. It gives her time to think about you, to miss you, to reflect on your energy. Anticipation turns small moments into big emotions. A delayed message, a thoughtful pause, an unexpected compliment, all these things, when used with emotional intelligence, build anticipation and increase emotional impact. Constant availability, although often done with good intentions, can sometimes overwhelm the very emotional space women need to feel attracted. When someone is too accessible, too eager, too quick to please, it can feel like emotional pressure rather than emotional safety. It may send the message that you're centering everything around her, rather than living with your own purpose, passions, and priorities. Ironically, emotional over-availability can sometimes feel like neediness, which repels rather than attracts. Women are drawn to those who are whole on their own, who choose to share their time and energy, not pour it out without boundaries. Mystery also speaks to emotional restraint, to the quiet confidence of not having to prove yourself constantly. It's in the way you hold eye contact, the calm in your voice, the way you don't reveal everything in the first conversation. It's the ability to allow silence to breathe instead of rushing to fill every moment. That kind of composure speaks volumes. It creates emotional tension, the kind that draws her in because it signals strength and self-possession. It says you're not afraid to be unknown for a while, that you trust your presence is powerful enough to make her curious. Women don't just want to know everything about you, they want to learn you. They want to discover who you are in stages, to feel like being close to you is a privilege earned through time and trust. When you maintain a sense of depth and discipline, when you hold a piece of yourself back without shutting her out, you become memorable, you become emotionally rare. Because in a world where everyone's showing everything instantly, mystery becomes magnetic. It makes her feel chosen, not by desperation, but by intention. It invites her to invest emotionally because she's intrigued, because she's emotionally drawn in by something she can't quite explain but deeply feels. Validation and being understood activate a woman's deepest sense of worth. For most women, the desire to be seen and heard isn't just a preference. It's a psychological and emotional necessity. When a woman expresses herself, whether she's talking about her fears, her dreams, her frustrations, or even the small details of her day, she is not just communicating for the sake of talking. She is inviting someone into her inner world. And when that inner world is acknowledged, respected, and validated, it sends a powerful signal to her that she matters, that her presence holds value, and that her voice carries weight. Validation is not about agreeing with everything she says. It's not about fixing her problems or always trying to make her feel better. It's about making her feel like her emotions are real, her experiences are legitimate, and her voice is worth listening to. When a woman says she's tired, anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed, what she often needs most is someone to say, "I hear you, that makes sense," or "I get why you'd feel that way." These simple responses go far beyond the words themselves. They affirm her reality. They let her know that she is not overreacting, not too sensitive, not being dramatic. She's simply being human, and her experience is being honored. The power of being understood runs even deeper. It's not just about hearing her words, it's about grasping what's underneath them. Understanding is about emotional attunement, reading between the lines, recognizing what she's trying to say even when she doesn't have the perfect words to explain it. When a man can understand a woman's silence, or notice the shift in her tone, or feel the difference in her energy, he becomes emotionally significant to her, because understanding is a form of intimacy. It says, "I see you without you needing to explain everything." That kind of emotional sensitivity is rare, and it creates a bond that logic and attraction alone can't build. Women fall in love through the mind and heart before the body. And when she feels validated and understood, those parts of her become activated. Her guard comes down, her affection increases, her desire to reciprocate multiplies. She no longer feels the need to protect herself with silence or distance because she feels safe being fully herself. That level of emotional intimacy is where trust lives. It's where she begins to feel not just liked but deeply valued. On the other hand, invalidation, no matter how subtle, cuts deep. Dismissing her feelings, telling her she's overreacting, brushing off her thoughts, interrupting her, minimizing her pain. These things chip away at her sense of worth, and when it happens repeatedly, she starts to withdraw. She might stop sharing, not because she has nothing to say, but because she's learned that what she says doesn't matter. Her emotional walls go up, and even if she stays physically close, she begins to detach emotionally. It becomes harder for her to trust, to open up, to feel safe in the connection. What many don't realize is that emotional validation can be more impactful than gifts, compliments, or even physical affection. Because when a woman feels validated, she doesn't just feel loved, she feels respected, and respect for her is foundational. It's the emotional proof that her identity is not being erased in the relationship, that she can be both soft and strong, both emotional and intelligent, both expressive and grounded, without being judged. That emotional freedom makes her feel empowered, not controlled. It makes her want to stay, to grow, to give more of herself, not out of obligation, but out of genuine emotional fulfillment. Being understood is what makes a woman feel chosen for who she is, not who she pretends to be. When she doesn't have to filter her thoughts, dilute her emotions, or shrink herself to be accepted, she rises. She glows differently. She connects from a place of authenticity rather than fear. She begins to trust that she is not too much, not too complicated, not too emotional. She is simply someone who deserves to be known deeply and loved fully through that knowing. Sure, here's an intro to your motivational speech, Why Women Love These Feelings. Written in Jessica Oppo Ku Jessica OS style. Calm, confident, insightful, and straight, talking with a touch of elegance and authority. Intro in Jessica's style tone. You ever wonder why certain emotions just hit different for women? Why there are feelings that make her heart skip, that draw her in without warning, that make her stay, even when logic says walk away. See, we live in a world obsessed with actions. What you did, what you said, how you moved. But women, we feel energy, we remember how you made us feel. And it's not just about love or romance, it's about presence, safety, excitement, mystery, purpose. These feelings are powerful. They tap into something deeper, something emotional, spiritual, even primal. And if you understand why women love these feelings, you unlock something most men never figure out. Today, we're not here to talk surface. We're diving deep into the real psychology, the unspoken truth. So whether you're trying to win her heart, rebuild trust, or finally understand her, this is the message you've been waiting for. Let's begin.